Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, and as promised, Human Centipede 2 full sequence. 100% medically inaccurate. So yeah, Human Centipede 1 was a request, so I did that and figured why not do the other one. I don't have Human Centipede 3. I don't want Human Centipede 3. I hated it. I thought it was a piece of shit. Very disappointing and just a bad movie. It came out in 2011, 2 years after the original. I saw this before the original. I saw this when it first came out. And I actually like it more. The first one I thought was a bit overhyped. Excuse me. Yes, I know the idea of being sewn mouth to anus is horrific, and that's sort of gave it the reputation that precedes it. Did there need to be a Human Centipede 2? Absolutely not. Could you have made a movie just like this without the centipede stuff and still achieve what it did? Absolutely. No pun intended, but critics shit all over this movie. Positive one was Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly would have the Marquis de Sade gagging into his popcorn. Could be the sickest B movie ever made. A lot of other people just hated it. And yeah, it is heavily censored and even banned outright in a number of countries. It is seen as one of the most disturbing, fucked up movies ever made. I'm probably going to get a little graphic in this review, so be warned. It is up there for me as one of the sickest movies I've ever seen. It is up there with like a Serbian film. Outside of like the snuffy stuff, like August Underground or, Lucifer Valentine's trilogy. Or even the Argentinian film Snuff 102. Other than that stuff, yeah, this and Serbian film would probably be the top. I have not seen Salo or the 120 Days of Sodom, but from what I've heard and from what I've seen of it, this one's worse. Now, Tom Six, he sort of got the reputation of like an angry child who is just lashing out with, something to say with this film. Like, pretty much this movie is a big fuck you to both critics and his own audience. Because this movie, this guy, Martin, the main character, he is obsessed with the movie Human Centipede. So much so that he wants to create his own. So there's the fuck you to critics who are saying, like, this could mess people up. But also even the fans. Pretty much because the fans were saying, like, we want more, we want it gorier, we want it sicker, it wasn't as sick as we anticipated. So we made this guy. Maybe not necessarily a horror fan, but a Human Centipede fan. Who just wants to go above and beyond. He's obsessed with Human Centipede, but he wants to do it with 12 people. And it does kind of feel like the angry kid, like, oh, well, here's a joke, that's on you, and oh, here's the joke, that's on you. This is going to sound weird, but I think this movie has a good atmosphere to it. It is black and white. I've heard of different reasons. I heard one, it's an artistic thing, and two, I heard so he could keep some of the gore in it, because as long as it's not red, they don't care. The only color in this is brown. You can probably guess what that is. So a lot of this movie is just a giant, meta joke. But what I mean by atmosphere is it is black and white, but just like the environments that there are, like The workplace, he works at a multi-story car garage, his home, and even the warehouse where he stores all his captives. It just has this otherworldly quality to it, kind of surreal. Especially his apartment with his, crazy ass mother. It kind of gives this feeling of like Eraserhead. That's what I've always thought. It kind of reminds me of like Eraserhead, which I'm a big fan of. Ashlyn Yeti, who was the girl in the rear of the last Human Centipede, is in this as herself, kind of playing an exaggerated version of herself. And yeah, he works at this car garage, and he abducts people by bashing them in the head with a crowbar. He lives at home with his sick mother who hates him, wants to kill him. She's twisted. He's basically the novel version of Norman Bates. Norman Bates in the novel of Psycho. He's short, he's obese, he's balding, he's got thick glasses. He is mentally handicapped. He's called, retard a number of times, whether as formal as that word can be or informal, like an insult. And yeah, he's just obsessed with Human Centipede, and the whole 100% inaccurate, it's because he's not a doctor. He's got this little tool bag with a hammer and scissors, and wire cutters, and kitchen knives. He has this warehouse, and the first 45 minutes is him acquiring the 12 people. Which, one, it is kind of hard to buy that this guy can overpower all these people. I mean, he's constantly coughing. He's got bad asthma. He's very slow moving. He's always having to hit his inhaler and coughing. And these people are just tied up with duct tape, sometimes for days. So that strong-ass duct tape. And sort of like a Serbian film, it throws in as much as possible to be shocking or to get under your skin. For example, the main menu, you hear like a baby crying. Because at 2 points in this film, while he's in bed, he's asleep, we hear baby crying, we hear like springs bouncing, and we hear a voice say like, stop them tears. You're only making daddy's willy harder. So, you have sexual abuse towards children. Implied that it happened to him by his father, and his mother says that she misses her husband. It's his fault he's in jail. She hates him. There's, a pregnant woman who doesn't make it to the centipede. He thinks she dies, so he has her tucked away. A shocking scene with her where she gets away and she gives birth in a car, which first time I saw it, I was just kind of like, well, that's fucked up. And then this time watching it, I was just like, okay, purely in there for shock value. It's not an in the moment panic. She's in a car that won't start. She gives birth, and she even takes a moment to look at the baby. He's trying to get it, he could see it. She kicks it to the side, which happens to go under the gas pedal. It starts, and she stomps on the fucking thing. The one thing I did hear about this movie that almost everyone talks about is the sandpaper. Because yes, his doctor, which even his doctor, who has a big beard, he shows sexual interest in him. He talks like with his friend about how he wants to get with him. Talks about how people who are sexually abused tend to mutilate their own sexual organs. He does with sandpaper. Which that seems to be like the one thing most people remember or know about this film. There's another scene with the girl in the back of the centipede who, you know, it involves him, her, and some barbed wire. Yeah, he wraps barbed wire around himself. Uh, so yeah, it does feel like it's almost like a Rob Zombie movie. Like Tom Six is trying to be okay. What can I put in here that's really gonna make you? Yeah. But other than that, there are some things I like. I like the black and white. I like the tone. The ending, there's some shots because at one point the centipede does separate. One guy's able to rip himself off because it's a backyard surgery. They're just held together by duct tape and staples. Even though he does knock all their teeth out, he severs the tendons under their knees. He does it to a couple, but it's implied he does it to everyone, to move the film along. Then, and after he shoots the one half of the centipede that's in the corner of this dingy, nasty warehouse, just the look of it has this really, like, black and white, grisly crime scene look to it because the camera holds on it for a while. I do like the look of that. Once he accomplishes his centipede and we first see that it all stand up, he's in his underwear, but he wears this lab coat and he has his crowbar. And the camera sort of does this like weird thing like this, almost in slow-mo, as he's doing this like victorious dance with his crowbar, with this ominous like this ominous mixed with like industrial sound, like score. And then I think where most people were complaining about the one shit scene in the first film, which has no sound, you don't see anything, it's all reactions. With this, he's even sort of mocking the audience there because, he goes to each person, squeezes their stomach, and he's going trying to get everyone to shit. Then he injects all of them with laxatives, and pun intended, is fucking explosive. And yeah, that's the one color that's in this movie. So much so it even splats on the screen. And yeah, it goes everywhere. And there's even the joke because at one point he like covers his nose. It goes like this. But I would say this guy, Lawrence R. Harvey, who before this was in a children's program, so there's that. He does do a good job at playing this sick, depraved psycho. He has no dialogue. He doesn't speak a single word. It's not because he can't. Like, every time his phone rings, he checks the voicemail on speaker. But we know he's made phone calls before. His mother talks about how he keeps talking about centipedes. So it's just that he doesn't. All he does is like scream, cry, laugh, or make like grunts and groans. So I mean, yeah, it is a sick movie, but I do like movies about like sick people, where we get to see their murderous activities. It does go above and beyond with how fucked up it is, but I like the look of it. It does remind me of like Eraserhead, and I do like that. You could have just had a guy in a warehouse with people like tied to chairs and have it like hostile, and it probably would have been better. Didn't necessarily have to be a Human Centipede movie. But yeah, I like it more than the first one, and I like it infinitely better than the third one. I actually hate the third one. But yeah, Human Centipede 2. I obviously it's a hated movie. Of course, critics hated it. Fangoria hated it. Most people hate it. It's not like it was trying to be. It's not like Saw or Hostel, where it's trying to be a good movie that is also fucked up and gross. Tom Six was like an angry child, just trying to make fun of critics and his gore-hungry audience. He could have cared less if it came out good. I just happen to think it came out better than the other two films in the trilogy. Yeah, that's Human Centipede 2. Oddly enough, now I'm cooking dinner. Anyway, thank you for watching.